What up, sports fans? It's your man BSJ from the Shop Report. And I need to get something off my chest. I'm disgusted with this country right now. There's a disconnect in the so called United States of America. And right smack dab in the middle of that disconnect, right down the middle, is ignorance. Yeah, ignorance. And to give you some idea of just exactly what I mean, I sat down and wrote out a few of my thoughts. So bear with me as I share them with you. There's a local newspaper here in Ohio called The Reporter. And I came across an edition, the most recent edition of The Reporter, and I see this headline right on the front page in big bold letters. And I'll read it to you. It said, "The Trump administration to Black America. The coronavirus pandemic is your fault." Huh? Say what? Oh, but it gets better. The U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Alex M. Azar, that's A-Z-A-R, went on CNN, I don't know if it was last week or the week before last, and says, the underlying health conditions of Americans, in particular in the minority communities, contributed significantly to the death toll from the coronavirus. Got you. So my question is, why is it that with every major disease that has afflicted this country, the minority population, blacks especially, always seem to be the worst case scenario? Why is that? Don't let the numbers fool you. Anytime the machine, as I like to call it, wants to validate the minority being the worst off, they come up with some astronomical statistic. 30% of black Americans or 42% of, you all have, I mean, anytime you turn the TV on or read a newspaper or some media outlet, you've seen it before. It's like the going theme. This is what they do. Well, I say this, and then the sad part is people who don't think for themselves, they watch that particular program, whatever the case, and they see these numbers being put out, the percentages and so on and so forth, and they go back during their water cooler conversations with their little buddies and whatnot. Yeah, and then 35% of black Americans got this, which would lend itself to you thinking, man, whatever the affliction is, that black people got it or minority people got it more than anybody else. When it comes to case studies, that's why I'm so glad I took sociology. When it comes to case studies, understand one thing and one thing only. Consider the source, right? And why do I say consider the source? Let me give you a little brief description or a little detail as to why. Where you going? I'm not done with you yet. Have a seat. I said bear with me, didn't I? A former Florida data official creates her own COVID-19 site that shows more cases than the state reports. Imagine that. And I'm not going to go into no long diatribe and no long drawn out thing about this. I'm just going to give you some idea of why you should consider the source when you're repeating or regurgitating all these statistical data and figures and so on and so forth. The data official behind Florida's COVID-19 dashboard says she has launched her own dashboard after being removed from the state's project. Oh, and who is this she, by the way? Again, bear with me. Rebecca Jones. Rebecca Jones. She was removed from the state's scrutinized dashboard project after she questioned other officials' commitment to accessibility and transparency. And again, I said I'm not going to go into a long drawn out thing here. Jones's website, floridacovidaction.com, which of course is paid for entirely by donation, she says that the community, the Florida community, deserves a dashboard that doesn't hide or fudge numbers. You get what I'm saying? Do your own case studies, okay? Don't just go off the people who done took a random or selective sample and then put it out for the masses to make it seem like more than what it is, okay? As for the Black Lives Matter, a few things I just wanted to point out. Former SNL Saturday Night Live star Jay Farrell shared his video, or excuse me, his security footage video of a cop with the knee on his neck. This is LAPD, by the way, and we all know their history, right? And you can go to people.com to check that out, to see more on that particular case. But the thing is, we're not even 10 minutes away from what happened to Mr. Floyd, and here we go again. Why is this such a common theme? And then Rashard Brooks. Seriously? And I'm glad, by the way, that Georgia ruled his death a homicide, because that's exactly what it is, or what it was, a homicide. Shot in the back because he pointed a taser that he took from the officer, that the officer knew was a taser. So therefore, once the man started running, there had to be enough distance that even if he had shot the taser, it wasn't going to do the same type of effect of being shot in the back. Now listen, it don't get no more coward than that. It don't. Even in the Wild Wild West, where gunplay was the order of the day, they didn't even shoot dudes in the back. Come on, we all seen it in the story and what happened. Listen here, you yellow belly coward, turn around and face me. How you shoot a man in the back? Mitch McConnell, and I just found this out a couple of days ago, said in 2019, we paid for the sin of slavery by electing Obama. Where they do that at? What? Listen, somebody please help me out here. How is 1 + 1 + 1 = 17? So in other words, not only was this a Freudian slip of epic proportions, what he's saying is we paid for the sin of slavery by having an inept black man as president. Is that what this dude is really trying to say here? Oh, and let me tell y'all, even though I'm born and bred, why I hate Ohio. For the politics in this state. Lawmakers in Ohio reject the ban on the Confederate flag, but those same lawmakers passed a bill on keeping bars open till 4 o'clock in the morning. And let me give you a little background on this Confederate flag thing, right? That's the same flag that William T. Thompson so boldly pronounced, as a people, we are fighting to maintain the heaven-ordained supremacy of the white man over the inferior or colored race. And as a national emblem, it is significant of our higher cause, the cause of the superior race. Yeah, got you. The same ideology that is prevalent today in those who took issue with Colin Kaepernick kneeling during the anthem, saying he was disrespecting the flag, which we all know to be the American flag. Oh, and speaking of Cap, why is there hardly any mention of Nate Boyer, the guy who suggested Colin kneel in the first place during the anthem? Not again to protest the flag and what it symbolizes for most Americans, but to protest against police brutality and social injustice. Excuse me, technical difficulties. Not only did Boyer say he's surprised at the backlash it drew, Colin's kneeling that is, but a former Army Green Beret This guy is. So what? Cap was disrespecting him too? It's amazing to me how folk in this country are so unapologetic in their hatred, clueless to the fact that they are walking oxymorons. Huh? Want me to repeat that? Clueless to the fact they are walking oxymorons. Yeah. So, this spot was brought to you by none other than my cat and the fine folks over at Rocket Digital. Got a problem with your Rocket? The one-stop shop for all of your digital service needs. I'm Barbershop Jay. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla. Oh, by the way, don't forget to check out our podcast, The Shop Report. Tuesdays at 8 p.m. live. Holla.